As much as politics can feel like lawless territory, as much as elections can seem like the Wild West when it comes to greed and corruption at least, there are technically rules about how politics is supposed to be conducted, about who can give money to whom and how much and when and what it can be spent on and what it cannot be spent on. There are laws about disclosure and laws about record keeping and all of that stuff. The sheriff who enforces those laws is ridiculous. And I mean that as a term of art. They are, or they ought to be, the subject of ridicule. We're supposed to have laws about campaigning and elections. We do, in fact, have them on paper. But the enforcement of those laws is left to these guys, the Federal Election Commission. And if you are planning on breaking the law and getting away with it, pray that the kind of laws you will be breaking are the ones that fall under their jurisdiction. But don't just take it from me, take it from them. Remember the check for $96,000 that Senator John Ensign paid to his mistress after he fired her? If that payment was severance, if the senator paid that money because he was firing her, which he apparently admitted to in front of witnesses many times over, then giving his mistress that check was likely a violation of federal election law. So that would be under the jurisdiction of the Federal Election Commission, which, as I say, is the worst sheriff ever. When the worst sheriff ever looked into the matter of Senator Ensign and the mistress and that $96,000 check, the staff attorney at the FEC looking into it advised the commission that they should go after Mr. Ensign for that. The FEC declined. And in one of the most incredible federal official quotes I have ever seen in the New York Times, listen to this, listen, quote, "An election commission official who asked not to be identified while the case was pending acknowledged that the commission took the senator at his word. This official expressed anger to learn the true circumstances behind the $96,000 payment. Quote, I hate it when people lie to us. If somebody submits a sworn affidavit, we usually do not go back and question it unless we have something else to go on. Maybe we should not be so trusting." Sorry, can we just put the last part back up there by itself? Do we have just the last part? Yeah, thank you. Maybe we should not be so trusting, the FEC official said. Maybe you think you are the part of the government that's supposed to make sure the campaign finance laws of this nation are followed, and when they are not followed, the people who break those laws are punished. That's your job. The way you've been doing that job is to ask people if they're guilty, and when they say no, you say, okay, sorry to bother you, sir. That's how we enforce election laws as a country. Maybe we shouldn't be so trusting. We took his word for it. Oh, no, Mom and Dad, that's my new incense you smell. It's called Cannabiscuits Baking. Homegrown, I mean, homemade. This old botch by the FEC matters again now because the Senate Ethics Committee that's investigating John Ensign says there's good reason to believe he did, in fact, violate those campaign laws. And because the Ethics Committee has referred its investigation back to the worst sheriff in the world, that means the FEC, the commission, may get another chance to not be so trusting. Also, because it is not just Senator Ensign who there are questions about, but also his fellow Republican Senator Tom Coburn. When Senator Ensign needed help getting out of the affair with the married staffer he was stooping, the Ethics Committee says Senator Coburn appears to have helped broker a deal with the mistress and with her husband, who also worked for Senator Ensign. Ethics Committee says there's reason to believe John Ensign then helped the husband get a lobbying job right away without registering as a lobbyist or waiting a year, which is required by law. When the husband started lobbying on behalf of an airline, one of the senators he met with was Tom Coburn. Since Senator Coburn was good friends with John Ensign, and he knew the husband of the mistress, and he knew he'd been an Ensign staffer, and he knew about the affair, and he maybe even helped negotiate a deal to end that affair, it is not unreasonable to ask whether or not Senator Tom Coburn knew that that guy lobbying for that airline at that time was against the law. But here's the thing about breaking the law. It matters, first of all, whether the government enforces that law, or whether maybe they're too trusting. It also matters if you have traded information for immunity. Senator Ensign's chief of staff made an immunity deal with the Ethics Committee. Information for immunity. The head of the watchdog agency that has pressed for an investigation of Ensign and Coburn told us last week that she wonders if Senator Coburn made an immunity deal too.
I think Senator Coburn owes the American people an explanation of his full role in this scandal, to answer questions about all of it. And if he indeed got immunity from the Department of Justice, I think he should share that.
Senator Tom Coburn, for the record, is not talking. Over the weekend, he gave the home state paper Tulsa World a no comment on the story. We contacted his office specifically about this question of immunity and got the same response, no comment. So did Senator Tom Coburn make a deal in which he got immunity from prosecution in exchange for information about the John Ensign scandal? Again, the answer so far from Senator Tom Coburn is no comment. We will keep asking.